Hey, Jacob here. I'm back in Thailand. I'm sitting in my car with my wonderful wife. And I just wanted to send you a quick hello here from Thailand. As you might remember, the presentation I gave on stage in Krakow was about the one thing that you have with you forever. And it in my book is one of the foundational things you need to be aware of and use in your life to improve your life significantly. And as I said, the presentation topic was peak performance. And in peak performance, there are four core areas that makes up peak performance. I mentioned to you that the first area is your capability, your skills, that you can actually jump or run or dig a hole or be a father or be a good employee or whatever it might be. That is the 10,000 hour rule, or what other people say. If you have been practicing something for 10,000 hours, you have become an expert. Now, all athletes, all that are competing professionally, are putting in all the hours. So that is not really the differentiator. Some would say it might be talent that is the differentiator. What makes the best the best? But actually, all research shows that the most talented people are actually not the ones who become world champion. And why is that? Well, it's because the most talented people are not willing to put in the time, energy and effort to actually become one of the best in the world. Because in the beginning, things come to them easily, and then after some time, when they've reached a certain level, probably a level that is significantly higher than what I could do or what you could do, they kind of plateau, and it takes them a long time to get to the next level. And that's where, if getting to that level have been very easy, moving beyond that is very difficult, a lot of people actually stop. So what recognizes what is characterizing the world champions, or those that become really top level, world class in what they're doing, is that they continue even when it gets hard, even when it is small changes they see in their skills. And it is the smallest changes that kind of makes all the difference. So persistence is needed. It is needed that you keep doing, keep learning. And here there's another trick in the capability part. And the trick is, it is not just learning by doing, like many people say. Because here's the thing, if you go out and you hit a golf ball with no training, no knowledge about what is the right way to hit a golf ball or the right way to have a swing, you might get lucky and make a good shot, or you might even be having a talent and be very good at it without any instructions. But more likely, you're not very good at it. And if you just go out and play golf without any instructions, without any instructors, without any knowledge about how to do it, the more you practice, the worse you actually become. Because you are practicing all the wrong things, the things that don't matter, the things that you think matters. And like I said from stage, if you're a professional golfer, you do the tee off 100 times. And you see and notice how you are hitting the ball, how much power you have, what direction it is going, depending on how you hold the club, how you swing, and so forth. Whereas most people, amateurs you could say, go out and play a game of golf. And do they get better? Yes. But it's kind of happy-go-lucky or kind of coincidental if they get better. Whereas the world champions, they are doing what is called deliberate practice. Anyway, that is for another talk, another day. That is level 1, you could say, capability. Without capability, you won't be nowhere world class. The second level, and I kind of hinted at it here, and I mentioned it when I gave my presentation, that the support system, the culture, the environment that you are part of plays a huge role. Why? Because you need to, as we just established, you need to do one thing over and over and over again until you master it. And it takes around 10,000 hours. Actually, this is a fun fact, a side note. If you don't know anything, in the first 20 hours you practice deliberately with the right instructions, with the right knowledge, you can become better than most people in the world, simply because they haven't spent 20 hours practicing. But to go from that level, that is kind of, should we call it a decent level, to go to the high performer level, that's a whole other ballpark. And it requires typically years of dedicated, deliberate training. Now, in order for you to do that, you need to have a good support system. You need to have a peer group. You need to have some people that kind of hold you accountable and help you stay in the game, help you keep doing it over and over again. So that is your support system. And as I also mentioned, if you want to play golf, it sure helps to have a golf simulator and a golf course nearby. So the support system also, should we say, the facilities you have to train, to practice, to become better. The support system, surprisingly, is also the strategies, the tactics, your coaches, your mentors that you can learn from and with. So that is the second pillar. The third pillar, which I didn't mention much, I just gave an anecdote, is what I call tech or tools and technology. As an example, if you are driving Tour de France and you have an old bike, you have no chance in hell of winning. Whereas if you have the newest carbon bike that have extra low wind resistance and extra simple and more gears and blah blah blah, then you have a fighting chance. Like I mentioned at stage, Speedo created a swimsuit, a full body swimsuit that actually gave the competitors an advantage, an unfair advantage. Because after they started using this swimsuit, 94 world championships or world records were broken in the following 18 months, to a level where it was deemed technological doping. So this swimsuit, if you and I are going to swim, we would be idiots not to use it if we want to perform better. But it has been banned because it was seen as doping. So what technology can do is, well, it can help you train better, it can help you track better how you train or monitor what you're doing. Like for instance, now I have my watch here that is also a step counter, a calorie counter, and when I do exercise it actually tells me how much I'm expenditure and so forth. My heartbeat, my vitals, it is telling me how I'm doing. So that kind of tech can help any athlete or yourself. If you have a business, then tech is the leverage. It can enable you to do stuff you could otherwise not do. As an example, you could have an AI support system that could help you answer emails. You could have automation, follow-up workflows. You could have a CRM system that could automatically find customers that you would need to get back to. Stuff like that. All that is tech. And tech can enable you to do more of what you already can do. And in some cases, tech can even make you do things you were not able to do. As an example, in many car manufacturing plants, they have very big robots that are helping people perform. And they even have, in some cases, an exoskeleton, which means that the person is actually wearing a kind of robot on his body that gives him super strength, because this you have robot arms to lift heavy objects, and it's much healthier to work with that on in that situation than not. If you look at divers, if you dive on normal air, that is the same air as you breathe here at the surface, the maximum depth you can go to is around 56 meters, because after 56 meters, normal air will get toxic because the partial pressure of oxygen is beyond where oxygen actually becomes toxic. So what divers that want to go even deeper do is they replace oxygen with other gases that don't interact with the way our body works, so that they can go deeper without getting this oxygen toxicity. Now, you don't need to remember this. All you need to remember is that the tool and the tech can make a difference. Now, if you're at the top level of athletes, giving a 2% boost or 1% boost might be what makes you run the 100 meters in 9.8 seconds instead of 10.2, or in other words, break world records or win the competitions. In business, it can make the difference between being mediocre to being super powerful. So this is the third of the 4 areas. The area I mentioned in the presentation was the 4th area, and this differs in a number of ways. The first 3 areas, the capability, is domain specific. If that means if you are good at running, you're good at running. It doesn't make you good at chess. It doesn't make you good at other things than running. Well, you might have good stamina, because runners need good stamina, so you might be able to perform other things very well also. But in general, it is what we call domain specific. If you're very good at driving a car, it's likely it cannot be transferred to other places. If you're good at playing chess, it's also likely it cannot be transferred. So these are domain specific skills or capabilities. If you look at the support system, well, the support system is kind of similar. It doesn't help you much to have a golf course out if you are a runner. Well, actually it might, because you can run around the golf course or on the roads there. But in general, you need the right kind of support system. You need the right kind of facilities or environment or culture. So that is also domain specific. And the same, the tech. I mean, a chess player doesn't have much need for an exoskeleton or a nice bike. A chess player don't really need anything except a chess watch, and it's not really an advantage. The same if you're a martial artist, typically there aren't really any tech skills while you're competing that can help you, but there are many tech skills when you're not competing that can help you. For instance, slow-mo cameras, for instance, body trackers, for instance, other parts that can help you to perform your best when you are in the ring. But again, it's domain specific. What you need is tied to whatever you're trying to accomplish. What I shared with you from stage is the 4th component of peak performance that you take with you everywhere. That is domain independent, that you can use no matter if you are a parent or you are an employee or you are a world-class athlete. And that is the inner game. Or, as I defined it, your state, your ability to go into the right state, the state where you can access all you have and perform when it's needed. Now, if you can make that state your normal state, that means that you will always be ready to perform. That will change your life, my friends. From stage, I mentioned 2 specific states that are useful. In the English language, there are 4,000 words for emotions. In general, you can say an emotion is a state. So in principle, there are 4,000 different states. Every state has a purpose. Every state is useful. But there are 2 of the states. I also mentioned, by the way, that typically a normal person is going through 10 states in a day, and that is kind of habitual. Meaning, if you normally get angry, you will easily get angry. If you normally get happy, you will easily get happy, and so forth. So, of these states, there are 2 that are particularly useful. One is, as I try to instill in you, as I try to help you remember this state, is the superhuman state where you can do anything. The other state that is very, very useful is the blissful state, where you are just enjoying life as it is. So these 2 states, if you can command them at will, whenever you want, these are extremely powerful. And all, I repeat that, all athletes have access to their peak state, and they have access by creating rituals. They have access by going into the peak state as much as possible, so that when the pressure is on, when it's go time, when it's the day that they need to perform, they are able to do so. Some have very elaborate rituals and some have smaller rituals. The trick for you is to have it accessible at snap of your fingers, or a deep breath, or looking somewhere. So this was just a short introduction. I will give you a bit more when I come back.